Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
A steamy late summer day in Chicago. The calendar may say September, but this is July or August weather. It is sunny and hot as Cub fans are filling up this ballpark in classic Wrigley Field conditions for the Diamondbacks today. And Chip Hale said he's hoping his club can find its second wind in the Windy City and finish this road trip on a winning note. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball from Chicago, brought to you by Sanderson Ford. And greetings from Wrigley Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. The Diamondbacks and the Cubs, the series finale on this hot and humid Sunday. And on the mound for the D-backs today, Ruby De La Rosa, a winner in his previous start, Bob, on this road trip in Colorado last week.
One thing we know about the National League West, any pitcher for any team that goes into Coors Field and puts together a quality start has done something special, and Ruby De La Rosa was really good at Coors Field last time against that potent Rockies offense. Went 6 innings, gave up only 6 hits and 3 runs. Didn't walk a batter. Key in any ballpark, but especially that ballpark.
And it continues the form from Ruby that we have seen since the All-Star break, 6-1 with a 3.32 ERA.
And you'd really like to see Ruby continue on this path right to the end of the season. He's had a great second half of the season, but you'd hate to see a couple of bad starts at the end put a souring note on it.
He's up against the right-hander Kyle Hendricks for Chicago. Chip Hale told us on Friday he wanted to get Nick Ahmed at least one start at shortstop in this series, so Nick is in there today. Chris Owings at second base. It doesn't seem, Bob, lately like it really matters where CO plays. He's been very good as of late.
Oh, you know, he looks so comfortable at shortstop, which was always his natural position. He knows where he is on the field, knows where his teammates are on the field, and if you shift him over to the other side, he's making great plays at second base. He's had enough time at that position that he's starting to feel as comfortable at second as he does at short.
So Ahmed at shortstop, Owings at second, and Ruby on the mound for the Diamondbacks as they try and salvage the series finale on a packed house. Hot day, Wrigley Field, the whole thing. This is classic Cub baseball. Diamondbacks in town. Back with more coming up. Blast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone View Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone View Casino. And by Jack in the Box. For a limited time, try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter. Welcome back to Chicago. Counting down to first pitch, the series finale. The Diamondbacks and the Cubs from Wrigley Field here on Fox Sports Arizona. Steve Berthiaume and Bob Brentley back with you. Tony La Russa said last week that the Diamondbacks know for 2016 their outfield is all set. Now it's a matter of plugging in the right infielders to go along with Paul Goldschmidt inside that Diamondback infield. And Bob, there's a whole bunch of candidates to choose from now. It's gotten a little crowded in that Diamondback infield as of late.
It feels a little bit like spring training here in the last month of the season. A lot of guys are going to get playing time. They're going to get at-bats, opportunities to show what they can do at their various positions. A lot of these guys play multiple positions. Obviously, Diamondbacks looking for guys that can do a little bit of everything. Play good defense, run the bases well, get your share of base hits.
I think you have to be thrilled with what you've seen so far, just in a very small sample size from Phil Gosselin.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one thing you look for with a young player, and Gosselin has had a little bit of big league time, but he doesn't look overmatched. Very confident, very good strike zone discipline, and when he does swing the bat, he's barreled it up.
Now, on the other hand, you've got Brandon Drury, who's played 4 big league games.
Yeah, we have yet to see the best of Drury yet. A couple of line drives back up the middle of the field. This guy has big-time power. If he gets some mistake pitches with the wind blowing out here, at some point today, he may come in and make a difference in the game.
And Chip Hale said the September impression that these players make is critical because that's the last one that the evaluators see in terms of the coaching staff and the front office. Wellington Castillo, the former Cub, back behind the plate tonight with Ruby De La Rosa. He talks to Jody Jackson when we come back. Then it's Diamondbacks baseball from Wrigley Field on Fox Sports Arizona. Your Valley Honda dealer, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers.
Back here at Wrigley Field, Jody Jackson with you. We get you set for first pitch between the Diamondbacks and the Cubs. Wellington Castillo and Ruby De La Rosa will be the battery once again today. The two have known each other since they were children in the Dominican Republic, but sometimes, even though they've known each other a very long time, Wellington does not know what Ruby is thinking out there. In fact, we saw that happen in the first inning against Colorado when Ruby attempted what looked like a quick pitch, and, well, you'll take a look at it in a moment, but with Ben Paulson at the plate and a runner on first, I asked Wellington exactly what he thought happened at that moment. What were you thinking at that moment?
I don't know. That was really funny. I was giving the sign, and I just see the ball coming up to me and say, what's going on? Like, and I went to talk to him and say, what's going on? He said, nothing. I don't know what I was thinking. So, all right, just cool down, relax your mind, just like restart. Let's do it again. Let's start from zero, you know. But that was funny. And somebody sent me the video after the game. I was laughing all over the bus on the way back to the hotel. But you know, that's something that happened. You know, I bet it happened to other guys too. So that's not new.
You didn't put the fingers down for that.
No, it's not signed for that.
I don't know what the sign for that would be.
No, he might saw somebody trying to steal a home play, but who knows?
But there was a man on first.
I know.
Ruby's funny that way. Do you sometimes not know where his mind is?
No, not really. I just went to the mound and I asked him, hey, you all right? He's like, well, what are you doing? He said, you saw somebody gonna steal the play, and he just laughing, looking at me and laughing. You know, just all right, just let's calm down, just keep it serious and let's do what we know to do. You know, just try to keep him in the game the more that I can. Like yesterday was rough. The start of the game, you know, and he was available to made the adjustment and give it a chance to win. You know, just hold the team in there with 3 runs, and you know, he gave it a chance to win. Just.
In the second wild card spot, obviously having a fantastic season with 76 wins. All the rookies that you're playing, I mean, 55 home runs for the rookies. Did you ever envision that you would be relying on these guys, that they would even be up here?
Well, we did. Actually, we thought about that. I mean, that was part of the off-season planning. You go to spring training and you get to know these kids, and you know they're going to play a significant role in your season. You know, Chris Bryant, no big surprise, obviously. Schwarber coming up as he did, a little bit more. Addison, probably the same way. I mean, a little bit more surprising. George Soler was doing well, but then gets hurt. We just got guys littered all over this field that are really newbies, novices, but skill-wise, very high skill levels, very accountable, and their heartbeats are slow. So it doesn't surprise me that these kids are doing this well.
I loved what you said a little bit earlier about, look, you know they're going to make mistakes, go ahead, please make them, but they care and they work hard. Right. So as the manager, what's that line between you're supportive of them, and that's the reason why I know you've been successful, but also they know they need to clean up things?
Well, yeah, and again, it's the cleaning up the mental part of it. Let's go, let's wake up, let's be involved. The stuff that we've talked about, whether it's on the bases, throwing to the right bases, being in the right spot on a play, those are the kind of things that you get upset with missing a sign. If you miss signs, I don't like that. Those are the kind of things that upset you. But physical errors, I mean, my God, our players, every player in Major League Baseball makes this game look relatively easy when it is not. It's a very difficult game to play, and the guys that play every day, you have to understand how hard that is to do successfully. So I'm very understanding of all of that. So as long as we get the accountability and the fact that they work in care, I'll take whatever else happens.
I know you're having fun, that's for sure right now. What has been most gratifying about, this is a cathedral of baseball, obviously, Wrigley Field, but turning it into not just a place where people come to watch a game, but a meaningful game that hopefully you guys are playing in October?
Well, I mean, I got here for the first time last year. That was my first game with the Rays, was here last year. We played a 3-game series in August. So I'd only ridden around it on my bicycle with the Angels back in the day. So you get inside here, and then you feel the vibe in the game itself. It's a different experience. I'm just telling you it is. We've done a lot of time in Fenway, which is the closest thing to it, but not quite. So you get inside here and you feel, first of all, the history, tradition of the ballpark, phenomenal, and then the fan base, truly, truly supportive. Been there through more thin than thick, and on a daily basis, it feels like a playoff game, and especially right now.
It certainly does have that sense. I talked to Joe yesterday. I mentioned the 76 wins, now 77 on the season, and they love him here already. It's not just because of his personality, the energy that he brings. In fact, they're selling those thick-rimmed sunglasses at a shop here in Wrigleyville, and you know what? When Joe Maddon took the job, he made it clear he doesn't believe in curses, and he is looking to end the World Series drought that has gone longer than a century. As we get ready for first pitch here between the Cubs and the Arizona Diamondbacks from Wrigley Field. Yes, the fans, it does feel pretty electric here these days with the Cubs on a roll, with the Diamondbacks looking to stop them and avoid the sweep today. Ruby De La Rosa on the mound. Kyle Hendricks for the Cubs. First pitch is next.
Cubs before we head back home to open up the set against the Giants at Chase Field tomorrow afternoon. Today really is classic Wrigley Field conditions. It is a very hot summer day, steamy here today. Bright sunshine. The wind is blowing right out to center toward Lake Michigan. All the elements that, Bob, combined to make this place so unique are in place for the D-backs here today, so buckle up.
Well, absolutely. This is a pitcher's nightmare day. Wind out of the south blowing straight out to center field. The ball should absolutely fly out of here today. Imperative that Ruby De La Rosa keep that ball down.
Your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Cubs. There's the wind blowing out. It's 25-year-old right-hander Kyle Hendricks, generally a dependable guy at the back end of this rotation, giving Joe Maddon some innings this year. This is his first career start against the Diamondbacks. Wellington Castillo caught Hendricks as a Cub earlier this year.
He's a guy that strike thrower. He can throw any pitch and count on both sides of the play, and he got really good sinker, really good changes. So that's the guy that go out and compete. He's gonna go right at you. So, we just gotta be patient and looking for our pitch and don't miss it.
The crew chief, John Hirschbeck, is our plate umpire on this steamy Sunday. Ender Inciarte set to go, and we are underway at Wrigley Field. Kyle Hendricks, an Ivy Leaguer. He pitched at Dartmouth College. His pitching numbers maybe not quite as good as his SATs, but he's been a pretty solid back-end guy. And Jed Hoyer was saying, the GM, he doesn't think Hendricks really gets talked about enough in terms of how dependable he has been for this rotation this year.
Well, there's a term that pitching coaches and managers use, scouts as well, when talking about a guy. He's serviceable, which means he's not going to hurt you. He's going to keep you in most of the games. He's going to eat up a lot of innings, save that bullpen. You see his arsenal of pitches relies heavily on the two-seamer changeup combination. Has a real good curveball he'll mix in second and third time through the order.
He's behind on Ender, 3-1. Ender Inciarte, 294 and 4 homers. A steamy 88 degrees with a whole bunch of humidity as we are underway with a leadoff walk for Inciarte. Take a look at the lineup for Chip Hale's Diamondbacks, presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Same outfield as we've seen the first couple days. Ender Inciarte in right, A.J. Pollock in center, Paul Goldschmidt at first base. This season against the Cubs, hitting an even .500. David Peralta will be out in left field. Wellington Castillo back home again here in Chicago will be doing the catching. Jake Lamb at third, Chris Owings at second, Nick Ahmed at short, and right-hander Ruby De La Rosa on the mound.
A good start for the Diamondbacks. A leadoff walk. Here's A.J. Pollock. The former Golden Domer was back in South Bend after the ball game yesterday to go watch his Fighting Irish beat up on the Texas Longhorns. A.J. fifth in the league in hitting, tied with Joey Votto with 317 and 15 homers. Chip Hale told us this morning, look, Kyle Hendricks, he's a nice pitcher. He's not Jake Arrieta. He's a strike thrower. Diamondbacks just need to get him up in the zone. This is our chance today, is what Chip said this morning, trying to break through early against this guy. Inciarte on for the pitch, but it's fouled back.
This wind will not only affect well-struck balls to the outfield, but high pop-ups in the infield that get up above the roof of the stadium here at Wrigley will be affected by that wind blowing out.
A.J. looking for his first hit here this weekend. He's 0 for 7 in the series. Ender holds, and that one's in there for strike 2. Just classic Wrigley conditions here. This is a day to be at this ballpark today.
This is the kind of day they sell a lot of adult beverages, but very important to drink lots of water. Stay hydrated.
0-2. Long sent by Hendricks. Somebody called timeout. There you go.
Usually it's on the hitter to protect the base runner over there at first base when that pitcher just comes to a set position and holds the ball. He's waiting to see if that runner at first will commit. And as a batter, it's your responsibility to call timeout after a certain amount of time to protect the base runner.
Just trying to finish on a positive note here. Chip told us this morning, look, if you can win today, they finish 3-4 on the road trip, which he said he would consider fairly successful, given the fact that they had to play 4 games in 3 days at Colorado, then come here and you get Lester and Arrieta back-to-back. So it'd be something of a moral victory to go 3-4 on this trip. Can they turn to Russell? That's all they'll get. The force on Inciarte, and AJ's aboard.
Well, let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the ball game very early on today with Kyle Hendricks on the mound. After facing the guys we saw in the first 2 games, he's a mere mortal. I mean, he's a very good, as we said, very serviceable, but very solid pitcher, but he's not Jake Arrieta or John Lester, so swing those bats. And let's avoid the Ruby occurrence today. When Lou Piniella was the manager here in Chicago, he called them Cubby occurrences, guys falling out of the hot tub or getting their fingers stuck in a reclining chair. And for Ruby, it's that little stretch of the ball game where he seems to lose his focus a little bit. let's avoid that completely today.
Lately, it's been very early, first or second inning. Here's Goldie, 324, 27 homers, and now third in the league in OPS, behind Bryce Harper and Joey Votto. There goes A.J. Pollock. He got a good jump. The throw from Miguel Montero is in time, and they got him. Miggy throws out A.J. Diamondback worlds colliding here.
And Chip's got his hand up down there in that first base dugout. They're going to give Alan Campbell an opportunity to take a look. Well, that's a pretty nice play by Baez right there, just to pick that one hopper out of the dirt. A.J. kind of spun his wheels over there at first base a little bit. Didn't get a great push off. Tough to tell from that angle, but if Baez did have the tag on him.
No challenge from the Diamondbacks, and it's a 1-1 count on Goldie with 2 outs and nobody on. Javier Baez at second.
Short hop, just to pick that ball and keep the glove right down in front of the bag. AJ had nowhere to go but to slide right into the glove of Javier Baez.
James Hoy, the second base umpire. 1-2 on Goldie. Called strike 3. Ron Hirschbeck rings him up. We are underway at Wrigley Field. For the D-backs, it's Ruby De La Rosa back on the winning track and has started Coors Field last week on this road trip. But even then, he still had his, as Bob put it, Ruby occurrence, where he just doesn't look locked in mentally or maybe emotionally to begin the ball game. And Chip Hale hoping Ruby can avoid that early today.
I think it's just something that a lot of starters deal with. I mean, you've seen some great ones over the years who the first inning is always sort of their tough one. Their ERAs are really high, and he's continued that, with his outings. But at any time he can change. He has gotten better all year, and that's one thing he's working on, and hopefully get better. If not, maybe we'll bring a hypnotist in or something.
That might work. Who knows?
You are getting sleepy.
I feel like I've been hypnotized. Dexter Fowler, 28th start this year for Ruby. He got his 12th win last Tuesday at Colorado. But again, even then, had issues early in the ball game with his focus. Remember the crazy balk call where he threw it over everybody's head? Rockies got 2 runs in the first, 1 more in the third against him. But as Chip mentioned a moment ago, he locks in after that and settles in, gives you a chance to win the ball game. And he got the win last time out. Ahead of Fowler, 1-2. Dexter Fowler, 254, 16 home runs, already a career high. He homered here yesterday. And you got to watch the long ball with these guys. Cubs have homered in 14 straight home games, their longest streak since 1991. And And they have hit 68 home runs since the All-Star break. That's the most in the National League. And conditions are ripe for the long ball today.
Talking to a lot of people with the Cubs, they were saying that it's been kind of an unusual summer in that they haven't had a lot of days like this where the wind is just galing out to center field. Every fly ball has a chance to sneak out of this tiny little ballpark. So you think about the home runs that the Cubs have hit without the aid of the wind.
Good start for Ruby. Strikes out Fowler. Mercedes-Benz presents the Cubs lineup for Joe Madden.
Dexter Fowler at the top once again in center field. Austin Jackson out in right field. Chris Coughlin in left field today. Anthony Rizzo at first base cleaning up. Chris Bryant down at third base. Miguel Montero, you see his numbers there, as a member of the Diamondbacks. He'll be doing the catching. Javier Baez at second base. Kyle Hendricks on the mound. And Addison Russell hitting ninth, playing short.
Ball one to the right fielder, Austin Jackson. 3 for 12 with the Cubs. Acquired from Seattle on Monday. Ruby throwing hard already at 21. Jackson 271 with 8 home runs. It'll be a hot day to be standing around out there. You want a pitcher that's going to work quickly. In there for a strike, 1-2.
In a lot of ways, when Wrigley Field plays like it's playing today with the wind blowing out, you really have to approach it like you would have started Coors Field. You got to keep the ball down. You have to avoid the walks. Get your team off the field and swinging those bats as quickly as you can. And that's Ruby's task today.
Two and two on Austin Jackson. Ruby has admitted after some of his recent outings that, as he put it, he keeps his emotions too high, and that's why he will sometimes, well, be a little all over the place early in the ball game. His ERA in the first inning this year is exactly 5, and in the second inning it's 5.33. But after that, he can put those bumpy starts behind him and settle in, as long as he can limit that early damage.
He does give up his share of long balls. Only Dan Herron, sitting on the other side of the field for the Cubs, has given up more in the National League this year. Let's keep that number at 28 for his next start.
2 and 2. There's a chopper to third. Jake Lamb has it. 2 up, 2 down for Ruby. Brings up Chris Coughlin. Usually starts in a corner outfield spot against right-hand pitchers, and in there today versus Ruby. At 247 with 15 home runs. Coughlin sat out yesterday. He was 1 for 3 Friday with an RBI single. Some interchangeable corner outfield parts. Jorge Soler's hurt right now. They've been using Kyle Schwarber, their catching prospect, in a corner outfield spot. He hurt himself last week, so he's not available right now either. Look at Austin Jackson really to back up Dexter Fowler in center, but they've needed Jackson to start at the corner spot with some of their injuries, and Coughlin has to sit against lefties. So Joe Madden can really mix and match now.
He's not afraid to mix and match. Guy might start at second base one day, right field the next, left field the following day. I think his ball club has responded well to that. A bunch of young guys, they just want to play ball. They want to get out there.
They are 20 games over 500 and on pace to win 93 this year. Which, life in the NL Central is good only for the second National League wild card. They are behind the Cardinals and the Pirates. 2-2 pitch. Is out to left field. David Peralta. A good start for Ruby. A 1-2-3 first. No score from Chicago. 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. You'll get real-time highlights, live look-ins, a pitch tracking widget, and more every night, every device, the whole thing. Blackout and other restrictions do apply, so check MLB.TV for all the details. As David Peralta leads off the Diamondbacks second against Kyle Hendricks. And there's strike one. David at 306 with 14 home runs. A base hit for Peralta. That's his third hit in this series. He's now hit safely in 5 straight.
Freight train staying hot here at Wrigley Field. Back up the middle of the field. A little bit of a pull shift on the right side with Baez cheating over in the hole between first and second. That gave David enough room to ground that one right back up the middle.
Now, when you were playing as Wellington Castillo steps in, the former Cub, did you find it was at all an advantage as a hitter to face a guy that you had caught before when he might have been a teammate?
I think occasionally you can overthink it, because you do know him and you do know his stuff and you do know patterns he likes to pitch in certain situations. What does he like to do with runners on base? What does he like to do in a potential hit and run situation? And you can really overthink the situation. He knows that I know that he knows that I know that he likes to throw sliders first pitch, and then he throws a fastball right down the middle. So just see the ball and hit it.
0-1. This Wellington Castillo has caught Hendricks before. Back at Wrigley Field, where he began this year as a Cub. Castillo was off yesterday. He started Friday's game, went 1 for 3 with a double. A .252 hitter in 6 seasons with the Cubs. I suppose you could do that in any situation with all the information that's available now, whether you were a catcher or shortstop, whatever. You've got video and all kinds of stat breakdowns.
And that's why you see hitters step out of the box after a pitch and either look at their bat or look at the plate or do something and just try to analyze the situation. Okay, we've got a runner at first, nobody out. I've got a big hole on the right side of the field. I know the pitcher on the mound. I know what he likes to throw. Good chance he might throw me a fastball middle of the plate in here. Then once you get in the batter's box, you clear your mind and just react to what you see.
So Rizzo holding Peralta on the bag at first. Baez, the second baseman, shaded toward the bag. All kinds of room in that right side for Welly. A long set by Hendricks. Somebody called time. Second time now he's done that.
Speaking of controlling the running game, John Lester, who pitched game 1 for the Cubs, Diamondbacks were hoping to run wild against him. Unfortunately, they didn't get enough guys on at the right time, and they were way behind early in the ball game, so that took that out of the equation. But very early today, I don't know if you saw it, partner, John Lester was down in the bullpen down the third baseline, and one of the coaches was standing out in left field simulating first base, and they were working on pickoff throws.
That is going to be a major issue if they get past the wild card game. Right now they would be playing at Pittsburgh in that 1-game playoff. But if they get it deep into a series, that's a problem. It might be so problematic, in fact, that, well, based on the way they've pitched, you would likely start Arrieta anyway. But that'd be a tough gig for Lester in the 1-game wild card when you can't hold runners on the bases.
Well, the Pirates are a team that likes to steal bases if they get the right guys on. Cardinals not so much. They don't run very much at all.
Royals ran on Lester in the wild card game when he pitched for Oakland last year in the American League. That was a problem. They ended up losing that game. Lester had a big league late, and Kansas City came back and went on to go to the World Series. 2-2 on Wellington Castillo. Nobody out. David Peralta is the runner at first. Good take by Welly there. Full count, 3-2. Peralta takes off. Castillo fouls that one straight down.
fans, anytime the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Jake Lamb on deck. Pitch number 8 in this at bat on the way. There goes Peralta again and again. Wellington gets a piece of it and fouls it off. Speaking of Jake Arrieta, boy, he was something yesterday. I mean, he no-hits the Dodgers Sunday. And then yesterday, 8 scoreless innings, gave up only 4 hits. And he's got 18 wins. Chris Bosio, the pitching coach.
And he had no-hitter stuff yesterday.
Oh.
I mean, everything was just filthy. Late movement, good velocity, great command.
Retired at one point 16 straight Diamondbacks in that ball game. Peralta off again and again. Wellington Castillo is wearing David out over there. The freight train might need a little adjustment here. Arrieta was filthy yesterday. And Joe Madden said watching Arrieta pitch from the dugout off to the side, it looks like he's throwing a wiffle ball.
It does. And the ball moves so late. I know that's physically impossible. The ball is moving from the moment it leaves his fingertips, but to the hitter, it just appears like that's a straight fastball down the middle of the plate. And by the time you swing at it, it's moved a foot in one direction or the other. It's dropped 6 inches. Just amazing electric stuff out there this last couple of starts.
Arrieta now 18-6 on the year. Let's try this one more time on 3-2. There goes David, and Castillo lines it right to Baez. Hang with him. 2 down.
That's just buzzard luck right there. Well, he hits that ball good, anticipating that Baez was going to be the cover man on the steal, which he was. Unfortunately, just hit that line drive right to him and completes the double play all by himself.
So 2 down, nobody on for Jake Lamb. Diamondbacks have had 2 base runners so far. Both were erased on the bases. Ciarte, the leadoff walk, to lead off the ball game. Now Peralta after the leadoff single in the second. 1-0 on Lamb, 279 and now 6 home runs. Jake has a 4-game hitting streak on this road trip. And he's ahead 2 balls and no strikes. Jake with 3 hits in this series, including his home run here Friday. Need the eye black today. Big time.
Some people more than others. Saturday night off in Chicago, an early Sunday day game in the heat and humidity.
I know you were busy on granddad duty.
Oh yeah, great night last night.
Now I know Gemma has to wear the baseball hat when you talk to her on the video phone thing there, but does she have to wear the baseball hat when Grandpa's around the house?
Oh no.
Okay.
Too hot. We decorated Mom and Dad's driveway last night. We had some of that sidewalk chalk and lots of pictures, stars, all kinds of neat stuff on the driveway when Mom and Dad get back tonight.
Did you draw anything good?
Oh yeah, well, I'm quite the artist.
That's a fair ball down the right field line. It's by Rizzo and in the corner. Austin Jackson has it on the warning track, and Jake Lamb has his 13th double. Second hit for the Diamondbacks.
Scalded that ball right down the first baseline. I was in Joe Madden's office earlier this morning, mostly talking about his ball club, but he was raving about Jake Lamb's swing.
Really?
Yeah, he said, I know this guy had some injury issues early in the year, but boy, do I like his swing. He looks to be a really good hitter at some point in the near future.
Yeah, it's been exactly 75 games, in fact, since Jake came back from that foot injury. He's at 264 with 5 homers. Here's Chris Owings.
Those pretty swings can be deceiving, however. Atlanta Braves had a guy named Brad Cummings. Do you remember this guy back in the 80s? Cummings. Yeah. Had a beautiful swing. Unfortunately, he took the same swing through the same plane regardless of what the pitch was. Now, if you happen to throw one in the swing plane, he could hit it a ton. But if it was an inch below or an inch above that swing plane, he was going to swing and miss. But it was very easy to look at him in batting practice and watch that swing and say, man, if this guy ever figures it out, he's going to hit 350. Unfortunately for Brad, it didn't quite turn out that way.
CEO having a very good road trip. He's through the 2-0 pitch. Lamb in second and 2 outs. Chris 0 for 3 yesterday. That snapped a 5-game hit streak. Hendricks has had to work here. Diamondbacks have a couple of base hits in this inning. And with 2 outs, he's behind on Owings, 3-1, with Ahmed on deck. Three pitches in this inning so far for Kyle Hendricks. 3-1 is in there for a strike.
I think that's one thing about Kyle Hendricks. He just basically refuses to give in to a hitter. 3-1 count with first base open. He's going to nibble out there at the bottom part of that outside corner. If he gets the strike call, good. If not, hey, go ahead and take your base. I'm not going to throw one down the middle of the plate.
3 consecutive 3-2 counts, and he rings up Owings to strand Lamb at second. Second strikeout for Kyle Hendricks. Both looking, both to end innings. No score in Chicago. Now's the time. Get your strongest fan photo into us with a hashtag AZDataStrongFan, and maybe you'll see your fan photo in our Diamondbacks TV broadcast, brought to you by T-Mobile. Anthony Rizzo will lead off the second against Ruby De La Rosa. Ruby a 1-2-3 first. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks against the guy that we often say is the left-hand version of Goldie. He chops it to the left side and quickly one out. Ahmed all by himself over there.
We love those kinds of bats against good hitters like Anthony Rizzo. You don't have to work too hard. You don't have to overthink the at-bat. You don't have to show him all your pitches. One quick pitch, one quick out.
The last game yesterday, both Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo swung at the first pitch in their first at bat. Here's Bryant, or KB as Joe Madden always calls him. There's strike one. Bryant 267 and 22 homers. The rookie leading the National League in strikeouts, leading all major league rookies in RBIs, runs scored, and OPS. And he's had a quiet series, 0 for 4, a couple of strikeouts yesterday. That snapped a 6-game hit streak. He's got just 1 hit in the series. Ruby's looking good today. This is terrific. Exactly the kind of start you'd hope for.
Same pitch we've seen Kyle Hendricks execute against the Diamondbacks hitters, just dotting that outside corner.
Well, that location will work all day long. And he strikes out Bryan. Second strikeout for De La Rosa. 2 down. And here's, well, it's Miggy time now in Chicago. Perfect spot. Keep it there all day. Miggy 235 and 14 homers in his first year as a Cub. And, you don't really get an idea, Bob, that it's worked out great for Miguel or for the Cubs. Been okay. He's been fine. Especially with Schwarber up this year, although he's hurt right now, but it's been all right.
I think that's probably the best way to put it. He's done okay offensively. He's done what they expected. He's hit the occasional home run. I think for Miggy, however, he expected to get a lot more playing time. But the way things have evolved with David Ross always catching John Lester and occasionally catching Jake Arrieta, Miggy's found his playing time cut down a little bit. Having to learn a whole new pitching staff. We talked about it with Wellington Castillo and Jared Saltalamacchia when they came over to the Diamondbacks after the Tuffy Goswish injury. And it takes a little while to settle in and earn the trust of a new pitching staff.
Ruby behind, 3 balls and no strikes. 4-pitch walk. That came out of nowhere. Miggy dyed his hair the other day. I saw him yesterday. He looks like Lucille Ball. I mean, he was going for blonde and it kind of came out red. And it's probably best that he has the helmet on.
Leave the helmet on. Might be a good idea.
It really didn't work all that well.
You got some explaining to do.
Here's Javier Baez. Ruby back throwing strikes. That one's in there at 97 on Baez, who has just 12 at bats this year. Called up from the minors for the first time all season just last week. 3 hits, including a home run on Friday. 0 for 3 yesterday. Two.
It's hard foul balls. Off the top of the mask of Wellington Castillo, off the backstop that time.
At second base here. Somehow it didn't hit Baez.
Well, he wanted it up, but over the heart of the plate, that one strays inside. Almost got a piece of Baez's jersey. And
wild pitch. So Montero at second, 2 outs, 1 and 2 on Baez. Was almost like the balk pitch at Coors Field last week.
The balk pitch was probably about 6 or 7 feet higher.
Holds up. This was Ruby last week at Coors Field. It was called a balk. And they still don't have an explanation. Ruby has no idea. He said, I don't know what happened. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was trying to do. It just happened.
Good for a laugh.
It sure is.
See that for years.
2-2.
Ruby trying to overgas it now. He wants to throw as hard as Baez swings.
He was rolling along, retired the first 5 he faced, 2 by strikeout, but a 4-pitch walk to Montero. And now he's overthrowing here, trying to get a guy who will strike out a lot. All you got to do is let him strike out. Three and two. Lifts it up in the air toward the right field corner. Ender and Ciarte is out there, and they strand the 2-out walk. No score through 2 at Wrigley Field. Be having that Ruby occurrence that you warned us about at the start of the telecast. Mike Harkey trying to calm him down a bit here.
I think it just got to be more of a mano-a-mano thing with Javier Baez, a guy that takes one of the most vicious swings in all of baseball. And Ruby said, well, I can throw pretty hard too. Let's see if I can throw harder than you can swing. And anything that takes you out of what's working is not a good thing. Stick with the game plan.
Stay locked in. On a hot day here at Wrigley, set for the 3rd inning now. Ruby De La Rosa and Kyle Hendricks. Everybody's got to cool off, including John Hirschbeck, the plate umpire. And we are set to go. Ahmed, De La Rosa, and Ciarte, 8-9-1 in the Diamondback 3rd. Nick at .216 and 7 homers. Nick tripled and walked in the game Friday, had an RBI. And Chip Hale was telling us that Nick has really worked a lot lately on shortening up that swing, getting his front foot down. Diamondbacks really want to see him hit more line drives or hard ground balls. Fewer balls up in the air off the bat of Nick Ahmed. That's what they're looking for.
We talked about it in the open, the mix that the Diamondbacks brass are going to be looking at in the last month of the season. And certainly Nick right in the middle of that mix. As you said, oh, that sounded like it hit him. Yeah.
He's aboard. Diamondbacks have the leadoff man on base.
I think John Tumpane, the first base umpire, is saying he tried to bunt at that ball. And just like swinging and getting hit with a pitch. If you try to bunt at the ball and get hit, technically it's just a strike. The question is, did Nick pull his bat back in time?
John Hirschbeck seems to be explaining just that very thing to Nick Ahmed. Chip Hale out there. Here's a look.
Did he pull the bat back?
Yes.
Yes, he was.
I don't know. Maybe after the ball went by him from that angle. That's a tough one for the umpires. And a lesson learned here. So the at-bat will continue.
This is one that you can't review, right? Check swing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a shame because it looked to me like Nick was pulling the bat back when he got hit on that right forearm.
Hit by pitch is subject to review, but that's not the issue there. It's a check swing, and that is a judgment call by the umpires, so not subject to review. And a 1-2 count now on Ahmed.
Just to finish the thought about Nick being in the mix with those infielders we showed you in the open, and you've used the term elite defender. There's no question about that. You just need to see a little more offense, a little more consistent offense from Nick moving forward if he can have that opportunity to be an elite defender at the major league level.
And he is an elite defender at any position. If you are a sabermetric guy and you look at defensive runs saved, he is among the best in the game. Anywhere on the field, we take there, and it's 2-2. For Nick, the batting average peaked on July 8th. That one, he was just under 250 there. Had a nice 50-game stretch during which he hit 300. But since July 8th, he's batting only about 160. And hits a ground ball to third for Bryant. Low throw on the hop to Rizzo, and that's the first out here in the third.
Ground ball down to third. I'm not sure if this one hop throw was by design or not, but gets it across there in plenty of time to get Nick Ahmed at first.
And that's why a good example of why we always say that Rizzo is sort of the left-hand Goldie. That's a nice scoop down there at first. Here's Ruby. Ruby's got 6 base hits on the year. Might have another one here, but Jackson is there. 2 down. Ender and Ciarte now.
Doing what a good leadoff hitter should do when the pitcher makes an out. Stall for a little bit of time. John Hirschbeck trying to hurry him up a little bit. He just wants to give Ruby a chance to get back in that dugout, towel off a little bit, get some cold water, try to extend this bat as long as he can.
Keep Kyle Hendricks out there in that heat a little bit longer too. Ender walked his first time up. Hendricks winless in his last 4 starts. He's not won since he beat the Padres here at Wrigley about a month ago. But his losses have generally been about run support. In his 6 losses this year, the Cubs have scored a total of 10 runs. So he will keep you in the game nearly every time. 8th round pick in the draft by the Texas Rangers 4 years ago at Dartmouth. Built at the deadline a year later to the Cubs, part of the deal that sent Ryan Dempster to the Rangers. He's been a very good back end of the rotation guy for Joe Madden. Up the middle. Baez clanks it, and Inciarte's aboard. Tried for the backhander, couldn't make the play. E4.
Similar to the do or die play we see third baseman try from time to time with a fast runner at the plate. You've got one shot, scoop and throw all in one motion. That time the ball came up and hit Baez in the heel of the glove, and once it gets that far away, Ender's going to leg it out.
2-out base runner for A.J. Pollock. Reached on a fielder's choice his first time up. Lines it right to Russell. That's the second time the D-backs have had a big-time hang with them. Still no score in Chicago.
And David, blah, blah, David. They keep calling me, oh, Fritz Rand, true. And all
The
that.
Cubs fans?
Yeah, I don't know where they find that. I don't know.
It's spreading.
Yeah, I don't know. And that was fun. I just, just turned myself and laughing with them. But they're fun. It's fun. I mean, you get that every stadium, these fans like trying to mess with you and joking about everything. So it's fun.
So David Peralta, who is roaming left field out there, hearing it from the bleacher bums, and you guys were talking about how the knowledgeable fan base out there, they mess with the guys and they know some of the nicknames, and apparently they know that David Peralta is called the Freight Train, guys. He was kind of surprised to hear that yesterday. I'm sure they said a host of other things to him as well. But that was kind of cool, and then the guys around his locker were kind of laughing at him for doing the woo-woo, the train motion, but he loves it.
Well, they had a Ronnie Woo-hoo here, right?
Oh, they still do. Well, Ronnie still roams the ballpark in his full uniform.
Hendricks bounces one to first. Ruby covers 1-1. Of course, there's great Jack Brickhouse, late great Jack Brickhouse, with the hey foul poles in either corner. A lot of history here. Jack Brickhouse did Cub games for 100 years.
Yeah, and you think about this generation of Cub fans. I mean, of course, past generations have had their Billy Williams and Ernie Banks and Ron Santo, but this generation of Cub fans, Derek Lee is one of the great old-time Cubs here at the ballpark today, celebrating his 40th birthday.
Part of some of those very good Cub teams.
07, 08.
Yeah. Addison Russell, the shortstop who bats ninth behind the pitcher for Joe Madden. Good to see that Freight Train is almost nationwide now.
Get some traction.
Oh, I see what you did there. Tracks. 0-2. Russell 242. He's got 12 homers. He has a remarkable 88 hits batting out of the 9-hole this year. There's already the most in any National League season since at least 1914. And of course, most of those have been pitchers, so he's got 2 hits in the series, both homers. His first 2 at bats Friday. And again, he strikes out while losing the bat. We saw that yesterday. Third strikeout for Ruby, 2 down.
A little less dangerous today. Yesterday he fired his bat up in the stands on the third base side. This time it goes straight back toward the backstop, just losing the grip there as he finished his swing on that strike 3.
Well, Ruby Bob is really pounding that corner down and away against the right-hand hitters. He has lived there all afternoon so far.
And he's thrown just enough pitches off the plate up and in so that the Cubs won't be leaning out there trying to take that pitch away from Ruby.
40 pitches, 25 strikes, 2 outs for Fowler, who struck out his first 10. Fowler's been a great leadoff man, especially effective since the All-Star break. He is 3rd in the league in runs scored, right behind A.J. Pollock and just ahead of Goldie. 89 runs, a new career high. He's also had a career high in homers. He's got 16, so he's really worked out nicely for the Cubs.
A legitimate leadoff hitter. I mean, you look up and down this Cubs roster, and somebody's going to have to hit leadoff if Dexter Fowler was not here. And it didn't seem to be a real logical candidate that jumps out at you. Most of the other young hitters you want in a run-producing spot, or in the case of Addison Russell, kind of hide him down in that 9-hole. Dexter Fowler's hit leadoff in the big leagues. He knows how to grind at bats, and he knows how to hit mistakes.
And he can homer from both sides of the plate. A switch hitter. Home run yesterday from the right-hand side. 12 of his 16 homers this year have come batting left-handed. Called strike 3. Ruby rings him up, works a 1-2-3 inning. He gets his 4th strikeout. He's got Fowler twice today. No score through 3 at Wrigley Field.
on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Mike and Molly on that show. Goldie leads off the fourth against Kyle Hendricks. No score. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, and Jody Jackson with you from Wrigley Field on a steamy Sunday in Chicago. Goldie gets it up in the air. Austin Jackson is there, though, backing up. One pitch, one out for Hendricks. Goldie 0 for 2. Here is the freight train, David Peralta, who singled his first time.
It fits. I mean, I think that's going to stick forever. Like lightning.
Todd Walsh. You really seem to enjoy the lightning nickname for Todd.
I do. When he walks into a room, it's like he's been struck by lightning.
Charged with electricity.
Electricity in the room.
Oh, I'm sure Todd appreciates that. It certainly fits David Peralta. Get him on the tracks. Let him run the bases. Get that diesel engine cranked up. 2-1. Of course, here it's the L.
Yeah.
Elevated train, if you've ever been to Chicago. All up on the tracks. Right by Elwood Blues apartment. 2-2.
Well, that's originally why they started putting the W and L flags out in center field after the Cubs game, so the people that were riding the L train home from work could go by the ballpark and tell whether the Cubs had won or lost that afternoon.
They put the W or the L up there after the ball game every day, and they keep it up the next day until about an hour or so before game time. It was flying there when we showed up at the ballpark this morning. The W pulls that one foul down the right field line. David's now hit safely in 5 straight games, 13 of his last 15. And he takes that one inside. Second walk issued by Hendricks. So the train's on the tracks, just need to get them moving now. Here's Wellington Castillo.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Castillo, his first time up, lined into a double play. He hit a bullet right to Javier Baez at second. After he fouled off about 4 consecutive 3-2 pitches from Hendricks. And he's down 0-1. He's headed toward the left field corner, and that ball will stay fair. It drops in, and here comes the train. He's rounding the tracks. Coughlin is down in the corner, and it's 1-0 Diamondbacks. RBI double for Wellington Castillo. Coughlin up now, but he bit it hard down in that left field corner. Castillo delivers Peralta all the way from first. Watch Coughlin in the left field corner here.
Hendricks fortunate that ball didn't get hit out onto Waveland Avenue. A hanging breaking ball that time. Welly able to keep it fair down into that left field corner. And we've talked about it throughout the first 2 games of this series. There is no foul territory down in those corners. So as Coughlin gets over there to field the ball, looked like he slid up against the sidewall, then fell to the seat of his pants. And that gave the freight train enough time to reach the station.
1-0 Diamondback lead. Here's Jake Lamb, who doubled down the right field line his first time. Castillo at second, still 1 out. Boy, Coughlin really bit it down there. He went down hard. 2-0 on Jake.
Montero going to the mound to have a word with his starter. The ball was rattling around down in that left field corner. You see that door? There used to be a door down there. With the renovations, they've taken it away, but that used to be the entrance to the Cubs clubhouse.
You're kidding.
No, I mean, everybody's seen the shots of Ron Santo running out from his third base position, clicking his heels on his way down to that door that used to be in the left field corner. There you see Coghlan. That's concrete underneath that foul line down in the corner, and his right cleat slipped on the concrete and he went down.
Yeah, Peralta scored from first easily on that one. 2-1 on Lamb.
I'm hearing more and more about the future renovations here at Wrigley, and one of them really has me excited.
What is that?
They're going to have 14 elevators here at Wrigley Field.
Now they have none, right?
Well, right now they have 0. They did have one down the left field line that was put in so Harry Carey could get up and down from the press box, because as you know, it's like climbing a mountain to get up here every day. But they have one elevator down in that left field corner that's out of commission right now during the renovation, but they're going to have 14, and we're told that at least half of those will work.
2-2. Nice off-speed pitch there to strike out Lamb. Third strikeout for Hendricks, 2 down. I thought you were going to say they were, putting a pizza oven in the press box or something. It's funny when you walk into Wrigley Field, we come to the back end where the bus lets us off from the team hotel, and you got to. It's really old school. It's kind of neat. It's a little bit of a hike, but you really do feel like you're going to a game in 1940 or something, where you zigzag your way up the ramps, back and forth about 4 or 5 different times as you work your way up to where we are, right at the top level of the ballpark here. But you do feel a little bit like Robert Redford in The Natural when you're walking down out to the street or back up. And you get a sense of the history of this place. 1-0 on Chris Owings, who struck out looking his first time. Trying to pick up Castillo from second. There it is. You might see Glenn Close standing up in that shot right there with all that light around her big white hat. There are the ramps. You got a zigzag up and down and back and forth. You see people like stop halfway up to take a rest. Little roller to shortstop for Russell. He strand Castillo, but the Diamondbacks get one. David Peralta, a 1-out walk. Wellington Castillo, the RBI double. Bottom 4 all the way. It's 1-0 Diamondbacks. Here today.
And under the circumstances, the Diamondbacks lost the first 2 games of this series. You knew it was going to be a sold-out crowd here at Wrigley Field, a team and a fan base that's looking forward to the postseason, and Ruby looks like he likes the pressure.
Good, that's a great sign for the Diamondbacks.
Really dealing with it.
They have not had that Ruby occurrence. He's been locked in from the get-go. A 1-2-3 first, a walk and 4 strikeouts so far, and he'll work to Austin Jackson, Chris Coghlan, and Anthony Rizzo, 2, 3, and 4 in the Cub fourth. The Cubs have had only 2 balls hit out of the infield so far against Ruby. Jackson grounded out his first time up. This is a terrific sign for Ruby. He is not messing around. Mostly fastball so far. He's just dotting that corner down and away, especially against those right-hand hitters. He's living down there. Go down there again. Jackson gets a piece. Lets it in the air. Right center field. Ender has got it. AJ fighting that sun out there. And Ciarte had carried over Pollock's head, and Ender caught it just shy of the ivy. That was a little nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah, it looked like AJ had a bead on it the whole way, but at the last instant he peels off as he lost it in the sun. Fortunately, Ender was still tracking it and able to make that quick adjustment right at the very end of the play to make the catch.
All right, you can exhale now. 5 in a row set down by Ruby. Here's Chris Coughlin, who flied out his first time. Ruby has thrown strike 1 or first pitch strikes to 7 of the last 8 he's faced. That's what they were really looking for from Robbie Ray yesterday. Mike Harkey mentioned that. Throw strike 1, that first pitch strike. Get ahead on the count. And he's behind on Coughlin 1-0.
We were talking about all the ramps here at Wrigley Field, and it was driving me crazy. I'm trying to think of that work of art that this reminds me of, and the artist is M.C. Escher, E-S-C-H-E-R, and the piece of art is called Relativity, and it's got stairs going this way and that way, and none of it makes any sense the way he drew the picture.
That's a fair ball. Goldie's on it. Ruby covers. 2 down.
Kind of reminds me of the ramps here at Wrigley. You know, they go up. Where does this one go? Well, I don't know. Started on the first base side. Now I'm in left field. How did I get here, and how do I get to the press box?
They go sometimes in opposite directions. Sometimes they kind of crisscross. Right there you can see 2 crisscrossing. You come out and there's like a fork in the ramps. Now do I go right or left here? No, I went left coming up, so now I got to go right going down. All right. Now what level am I on here? It takes a couple of times before you get it, and that's where we are, way up on the top level here. So it's a hike to get up here. It's fun. This is a fantastic place to be. Anthony Rizzo. First pitch swinging again. And Ciarte. And Ruby has retired 7 straight Cubs. A very quick 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1-0 Diamondbacks. There's more of those stairs and ramps here at Wrigley.
I may not know art, but I know what I like. That reminds me of Wrigley Field.
Now that's your painting right there. Our guys in the truck did a great job of finding that. It looks like Wrigley Field. The stairs going sideways, and
how do I get to section 218?
the ramps. Packed house here today. They can now, because they bought, as you mentioned, Bob, they bought the Cubs organization, the buildings across the street, or some of them anyway. And so that becomes official Wrigley Field seating because the Cubs own the seats. So now they can get more than 40,000 here, which seemed incomprehensible about 10 years ago. But we had over 40,000 in here yesterday, and it looks like a similar crowd here today. So bouncer to Baez at second. He retires Ahmed to open up the fifth. They said they wanted to see more hard grounders from Nick. He's grounded out twice so far. Here's Ruby De La Rosa. Speaking of the stairs going in different directions and angles, it's kind of the opposite of Kyle Hendricks. I mean, he is, look where his shoulders are. I mean, he is straight at the plate and the batter. We look sometimes at guys who have funky deliveries and windups like Ali Perez did, or somebody like Johnny Cueto. All kinds of twists and turns when they throw the ball. Hendricks is the polar opposite of that. He says he needs to stand straight up, tall, and on line to keep those shoulders square to his target. And he really thinks about that. He says he thinks about staying tall. Ruby swings through that one. It gets behind Mickey, and De La Rosa's aboard. It rolled slow enough all the way to that deep corner back there, so that Mickey couldn't get to it by the time Ruby reached to strike out in a wild pitch.
That's one thing about Wrigley Field. There's no foul territory in the outfield corners, but there's a bunch of it right behind home plate. Swinging strike three gets right through the 5-hole of Miguel Montero all the way to the backstop. He knows it's a long run back there, and by the time he retrieves the ball, no chance to get Ruby at first.
One out base runner for Ender Inciarte. And Hendricks will have to get 4 outs in the inning. Ender has reached twice, a walk and an error on Baez, the second baseman. Bryant in on the grass at third. We're talking about Hendricks. He really has to square those shoulders up. He's not one of these funny guys who tries to fool you with arm angles and arm slots. He really looks for a repeatable, straight, tall motion.
Well, one thing for me, Hendricks is right on the verge of a balk just about every time he's had a runner at first base. Really quick into and out of the set position. Not really a good pause, but apparently enough for John Hirschbeck behind the plate because he hasn't called a balk on him yet.
Slow roller to Baez. The scoop to Russell, who barehands it on the turn, but Ender beats it out. Nicely done by that young middle infield combo, and they think this could be the future there. Baez at second and Russell at short. We'll be out there running the bases on a very steamy day at Wrigley.
That was really almost out of necessity that Addison Russell barehanded that ball. As Baez flipped it from his glove, he flipped it well to Addison Russell's right, had no chance to glove it with the leather, so he just barehanded it and fired on the first too late to get Inciarte.
A.J. Pollock 0 for 2. Big highlight of the game here today, always, of course, a Wrigley Field tradition, the singing of Take Me Out to the Ball Game between the top of the 7th and the bottom of the 7th. And today's honoree is Bob Brenly. La, 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 la. How many times have you done that? You might have done that like a dozen times by now.
Probably, jeez.
Ender is all hung up. And the Diamondbacks run themselves out of that inning. Well, singing not such a sweet song in the Diamondback 5th. Inciarte is the final out, but they lead it 1-0. Diamondbacks 3-game set against the Giants starts tomorrow afternoon. Fans, don't forget day game tomorrow at Chase Field. And you can get a ticket to any game this week for only $19. Just use the D-backs value pack. The D-backs value pack, it includes a Subway sandwich, a Pepsi, and a coupon for a free cookie. You can visit dbacks.com/value and get your tickets now. We'll see you at Chase Field. That is the place to be in this ballpark. If you come to Wrigley Field, you want to be in the bleachers. It is a really, really fun experience. Ruby De La Rosa has retired 7 straight Cubs. Chris Bryant leads off the Chicago 5th. It's funny to think about all the fuss this spring where Chris Bryant would begin the season. It's funny how the narratives and the storylines evolve over the course of the year. It seems silly to think about it now here in September. But it was a big topic in March. Remember that? He played in 14 spring training games, Bryant, and hit 9 home runs. And the Cubs sent him to the minors to work on his defense, they said. Kind of slow down that arbitration clock. Opened up the year at AAA Iowa. Played 7 games there, and he was called up. And that ball is way out of here and gone. High off the scoreboard in left. Chris Bryant. Boom. And that's the way he looked in spring training. A tape measure homer halfway up that board. And that was like, if that board wasn't there, that would have been one of those Dave Kingman home runs.
Out on the Waveland Avenue. Can't even call this one a windblown home run. This one would have gone through a 40-mile-an-hour wind. That hit high off that new scoreboard out there beyond the left field bleachers.
His 23rd. 1-1 ball game. Here's Miguel Montero, who walked his first time up. Chris Bryant, he is a show.
He really is. I mean, when he makes contact, it's just crazy.
He's now got 7 home runs and 20 RBIs in his last 18 games. And it hit right about there. And he loves this ballpark, Chris Bryant. It's been a great fit for him. 23 homers this year. 19 of them have come at Wrigley Field. They're saying 495 feet.
Yikes.
On the Chris Bryant homer, according to StatCast. 495. Yikes.
And knowing Miggy the way we do, he's trying to hit one 496.
Exactly. Clank 3/4 of the way up the board. This is on the 1-2 pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You mentioned Dave Kingman hitting some long home runs here. Glenn Allen Hill hit a ball up on top of that yellow building out there beyond the left field fence up there where those bleachers are now. And the longest one I remember Dave Kingman hitting here landed 4 doors down the street on some lady's porch.
Yeah.
She thought somebody was knocking on her door. So she came out to answer the door, and it was a Dave Kingman home run ball.
King Kong Kingman. Some legendary home run. He was a huge guy, Dave Kingman.
Huge.
Giant right-hand hitter.
6'7". Talk about plate coverage.
And Bryant on the home run makes it 86 RBIs. That ties Billy Williams, Cubs rookie record, that he shares with Giovanni Soto. 2-2 on Montero. Just inside, and it's full.
That's another great thing about Wrigley Field and the ballpark tucked in the neighborhood here the way it is. The stories and the lore that are handed down from generation to generation. Adam Dunn hit a ball across Sheffield out in right field, hit it over the fence across the street and broke a window in a building across the street. Those are the kind of stories that people are going to be telling years from now.
Montero, base it up the middle. A home run and a single to lead off the Cubs 5th. Well, you've got so many landmarks out there with this Wrigleyville neighborhood. It's not like you're hitting it out into a parking lot or something with a ballpark that's near a freeway. You're going to hit it off this building and that one. Dave Kingman, and it seems like he was here a long time. Kingman only played 3 years as a Cub, but he hit 94 home runs.
Dave Kingman probably would have enjoyed playing for Joe Madden. They were 2 guys a little off kilter in a good way. Dave Kingman, see this netting out here on the big board. That was put in there specifically because of Chris Bryant. Apparently early on in batting practice, he was just beating dents into their brand new scoreboard out there in left field, so they came up with this netting that they spread across the big board during batting practice so Chris Bryant and others don't beat up on the new scoreboard.
Imagine all that they went through, not just the money, but the litigation and all the back and forth with the neighborhood to get that thing up there. And their rookie third baseman just beats it down.
Knocks it down.
Here's Baez, who will try to knock it down with every swing. Remember that home run we talked about, the blowout game on Friday? That game in 1979 when the Phillies beat the Cubs here 23-22. Kingman hit 3 homers in that game. That was the one that you were talking about, the famous down the street home run.
Yep.
Pitcher spot is up next. Kyle Hendricks looks like he's all done. Tommy La Stella is in the on-deck circle as the Cubs have a threat going here. Baez a single. A run in on the Bryant homer. 2 on and no outs against Ruby.
Topspin, as you might imagine. That uppercut lift swing, if you don't catch it just perfect, that ball's going to have topspin like a curveball. Got through the left side of the infield in a hurry, got out there to David Peralta in a hurry. Cubs have him at first and second with nobody out.
And remember, Joe Madden likes to bat the pitcher 8th with Addison Russell, the shortstop, in the 9 spot, so the pitcher spot is up here. And with the threat going in a 1-1 game in the 5th, Hendricks is done, and we'll get a look at Tommy La Stella, the infielder, who is batting .179. He's played only 11 games with the Cubs all year, the former Atlanta Brave. And Justin Grimm is warming up. Chris Bryant, a long home run, 495 feet, and they just put it up on the board that he clanked it off of, as tied Billy Williams and Giovanni Soto for the most RBIs in a season by a Cub rookie, and he's still got about 3 weeks to go.
See, if they'd have started him in the big leagues at the beginning of the season.
Well, that's why I brought it up, because, you know, people are going, well, let's see, we're 3 or 4 games out. If, you know, Bryant, we would have won all the games that Bryant was here, of course. So
yeah.
It cost us the whole thing. That's kind of a silly narrative, but there it is. Here's La Stella, 2 on, nobody out. Corners are in for the Diamondbacks. Strike 1.
I'll just finish up the thought on Dave Kingman and why I think he would be a good fit with Joe Madden. Kingman, at least 1 year he lived here in Chicago, lived on a boat.
Yeah, he was famous for being a difficult guy.
Yeah, it was either Belmont Harbor or Montrose Harbor. I'm not sure. He had a houseboat and lived on the boat all summer.
Keep cool that way anyway. By the way, StatCast, which measured the Bryant homer at 495 feet, 3/4 of the way up the left field board there, says that is the longest home run in the major leagues this year. 495. 1-1 on La Stella. Ruby had been rolling here, 7 straight retired going into this inning. But it's been home run, single, 1-1 on La Stella. 1-2. La Stella 4 for 22 with a home run since he came back from injuries in a stint in the minor leagues. He had been out since the first week of April. A lot of injury issues this year. Slaps it foul the other way. La Stella made a big impression in spring training. He hit better than .370 in Mesa this spring. Broke camp with the Cubs. Got hurt almost immediately. He was rehabbing in May and aggravated the oblique injury. And suddenly his season was almost over before it could begin. Finally came off the DL last month. And then had to go to Iowa for a while in AAA. Rolled in the hole at second. Goldie's on it. He smothers it and makes a tremendous play to save a run. As Montero had that rolled into right field, may have had a chance to go home. Instead, it's second and third with 1 out. Well, he pounced on that like Superman.
Wow, what a great play by Goldie. That was almost surely going to be a run ball. Hit slowly to the right side, but headed for right field until Goldie does his Superman impersonation. And as usual, a perfect feed to Ruby De La Rosa to make that an easy out at first base on what should have been an RBI base hit.
And a great job by Ruby. He really busted it over there to that first base bag. No hesitation at all. Second and third now. One out for Addison Russell, the shortstop, who struck out his first time up. Montero at third. Baez, the runner at second. Inside for a ball, 1-0.
A lot of times the foot speed of the runner at third base will determine how shallow you play to cut off that run at home plate. And with Miguel Montero, the runner at third base, the Diamondbacks are playing a little deeper than they normally would. Possibly gives the guys in the middle the option of turning two up the middle. They wouldn't do that. There's no runner at first right now, but they give themselves more range in case the ball is hit one direction or the other, and still have a chance to get Montero at the plate because he's not fast.
Now, what makes you say that?
Because I watched.
1-1. Miggy's many things. Fast base runner is not one of them.
Not one of them.
Down and away. Down and away. 70 pitches, 47 strikes. John Hirschbeck.
That could be a case where Ruby has proven throughout the early part of this ball game that he can throw a strike out there on that corner and hit it more often than not. That one just a little bit off the corner, but still gets a call.
Going down there again. On the ground to third. Lamb is on it. Montero has to hold. Jake Lamb. Bases are loaded for the moment. A base hit for Addison Russell. Lamb made a very nice play to prevent that ball from rolling it to left. So they save a run for the moment once again.
Credited with an infield hit. Of course, Jake Lamb's first responsibility is to make sure Montero wasn't going to try to score, but I think the play right there would have been at second base. Javier Baez was off on contact and was about halfway between second and third base when Jake fired across the diamond, and with Addison Russell's speed, he legs it out for an infield hit.
No challenge from the Diamondbacks. Bases full, one down for Dexter Fowler. Fowler is 0 for 2. He has struck out twice.
Take a look at Baez at the top of your picture there. Right there, if Jake Lamb gets to his feet and throws to second base, they've got him at least in a rundown, if not in an easy tag-out situation.
Remember Robbie Ray in the game yesterday had bases loaded, no outs in the fourth, and got out of it giving up only one run. Bases loaded, one down here. De La Rosa and Fowler.
Down. Now is when you really want to stay down in that zone. Get that ground ball.
Fowler has been very productive lately. Better than .330 over the last month with 18 extra base hits. Ball one. Bullpen quiet for the moment for the Diamondbacks. Here's the 1-0. Outside, it's ball two. Al Stottlemyre Jr. answers the call. Otero at third, Baez at second, Russell at first.
Some oohs and ahs from the fans here at Wrigley because of the swing, and the ball fouled straight back off the mid of Wellington Castillo to the backstop. Ground ball.
Two and two. Pumped it up to 96, and Fowler strikes out for the third time today. 2 outs.
Occasionally when Ruby jacks it up into the high 90s, that's when he loses his command a little bit there, but that was probably a good thing. An elevated fastball at 96, just too tempting for Fowler to take, too fast for him to catch up to.
Big out there again, Fowler, who does have a grand slam this year. 2 down for Austin Jackson, who's 0 for 2. 1 for 8 in the series. He's already struck out 3 times. Enrique Burgos has begun throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. This is up at 96, 1-0. Here's Enrique Burgos. Ruby now at 27 pitches in this inning. He had been cruising along. He threw only 17 pitches combined in the third and the fourth. 1-0 pitch. Good look
on him.
You talking to me? Fastballs, 2-1. '97. What you like about Ruby's makeup, Bob? He is not afraid to challenge anybody at any time. He's got some guts out there. A strike away from getting out of a big mess. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 2 balls, and 2 strikes. At any point, do you think about sneaking in a changeup here?
I think you stick with the old number 1 myself, especially elevated in the zone if he can get it up there again.
Castillo hangs on, and Ruby De La Rosa meets the challenge. He strikes out Fowler, he strikes out Jackson, and he leaves the bases loaded. But the Cubs get the Bryant homer, 495 feet. We're all tied. the series finale at Wrigley Field. Set for the 6th inning. And it's time to take a look at our State Farm report of the ball game, updating all the Diamondbacks' top affiliates in the minor leagues. And these teams are in the playoffs. Visalia, the Rawhide, Kane County, the Cougars, the 2 different levels of A-ball for the Diamondbacks. Short season Hillsboro, boy, they've had a really nice program there. And Rookie League Missoula all making the postseason here. How about that record at Kane County, 83-53. Visalia just about as good. Roll Hyde.
Well, it's been a nice run over the last 4 or 5 years for the Diamondbacks minor league system, playing for championships at the various levels. And yeah, we've talked about it at times. Is that important to win at the minor league level? And certainly there's something to be gained by learning how to win games late in the year when you're in a pennant race. And the Diamondbacks seem to send at least 3 or 4 or 5 teams to the postseason every year in the minor leagues.
51st appearance for Justin Grimm, that ERA under 2. He worked 1 inning in that big game on Friday in relief of John Lester. 10th time now in the last 12 games that the Cubs starter has not gone 7 innings. The only exception has been, of course, Jake Arrieta twice. The no-hitter Sunday in L.A. and then his outstanding start yesterday. AJ so far 0 for 2.
Big curveball there from Grimm to start the sequence to AJ. He's got a good fastball in the upper 90s, mostly 4-seamers up in the zone. Really good curveball, and we'll throw in a slider as well.
Mentioning the minor league team, Reno will have Jeremy Hellickson pitching today in a rehab start. Clayton Richard, the left-hander, warming up for the Cubs. So Hellickson goes today for the Aces. And Chip Hill told us this morning that if Jeremy is healthy enough to come back following his start today, the Diamondbacks may go to a 6-man rotation as they try and ease the innings burden here late in the year. Or they could just pick and choose their starters for the rest of the year as they go along, just take it on a case-by-case basis. Either way, Zach Godley will start the game Wednesday at Chase Field against the Giants. There was some concern about the way Zach pitched here Friday, and maybe it was time to shut him down, but he'll get 1 more start Wednesday versus San Francisco.
I think you will see, moving forward in this game, 6-man rotations not necessarily become the norm, but certainly be seen a lot more. When you think about the situation that the Diamondbacks are in this year, a lot of guys getting near their innings limit. You got Patrick Corbin coming back from Tommy John surgery. And you think back to the days everybody used to pitch with a 4-man rotation. And then we're going to go to a 5. Oh, what are you doing? Guys got to pitch on 3 days rest. They can't pitch on 4 days rest. Well, I think given the circumstances, given the prevalence of the Tommy John surgeries and organizations rushing pitchers to the big leagues quickly, I think you will see some 6-man rotations moving forward.
A.J. Pollock, the leadoff walk. Well, they had talked about doing it at 2 different points in the season with the Mets this year, who suddenly find themselves leading the NL East and trying to hang on and edge out Washington. And they've run into this Matt Harvey situation where Harvey's involved and his agent's involved, and everybody's got an opinion about shutting him down like the Nationals did a few years ago with Strasburg, a move that still kind of hangs over that Washington franchise when they wound up not winning the World Series. Goldie 0 for 2. Chip Hill also said today that the Diamondbacks will call up a few more players with the September roster expansion. Chip would not say, he was kind of sly about it. He said, I'm not telling you. But, maybe it's Peter O'Brien. It'd be nice to see Peter get some big league at bats. Our first big league look at him. That's just a guess. Maybe Jamie Romack. Didn't say if a pitcher or 2 would come up in terms of Aaron Blair, Braden Shipley, somebody like that. But they do plan on bringing up more players.
And Chip's handling it exactly the right way. You don't divulge any information until you have to, because things change so quickly in this game. It used to drive me crazy. Who's pitching next Wednesday? I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I'll let you know Tuesday. How's that?
Long set by Grimm and the step off. What do you think about the way Chip has handled his media? Because that's a big part of the job. How's he done in his rookie season?
I think he's done an outstanding job in just about every facet that a manager has to deal with, but especially dealing with the media. I mean, there have been some games when he's been a little testy, but he doesn't take it out on the writers and the reporters gathered after the game. They just want to get the information to pass along to the fans, and I think Chip realizes that. And sometimes you just have to grit your teeth and get through it, but at other times he's been very positive, very optimistic, looking at this young Diamondbacks club and the talent that they're going to have moving forward. I think he's done a great job of handling the media.
Grimm trying to handle Goldie here. He's ahead 0-2. You saw the shot of Trevor Cahill, the former Diamondback, now warming up for the Cubs, along with Richard, the left-hander. Here's Trevor. It's almost perhaps Trevor time here at Wrigley.
The Aces have a game today and tomorrow, and then their season is finished. So sometime during that homestand, see some more reinforcements.
Trevor Cahill's been kind of a big league vagabond this year. He's been a little bit of everywhere this season. It's been a tough year for Trevor ever since he left the Diamondbacks. He started out traded to the Braves. Flirted with the Dodgers for a while, and now he's a Cub. This is headed toward the right field corner. Long run for Jackson, and it's in the seats. Well, we do know our, speaking of Zach Godley, our starting pitching lineup for the series against the Giants at Chase Field starting tomorrow. Don't forget, fans, day game tomorrow, matinee baseball for you at Chase. Diamondback Live pregame show at 12:30. Former Reds great Mike Leake will pitch for the Giants against Patrick Corbin. And then night games Tuesday and Wednesday, Chase Anderson and Ryan Vogelsong. And then Wednesday, Chris Heston and Zach Godley. 0-2 on Goldie. There goes Pollock, and Paul lines it out to Jackson. And come on, man. AJ's got nowhere to go. That's the third time that's happened to the Diamondbacks today. Line right into a double play. They start the runner. It comes back to bite him.
Goldie's swing intentionally designed to drive the ball that way. You can see how much room there was on the right side of the infield. Unfortunately, he hit a line drive right to Austin Jackson in right field. They turn it into an easy double play.
4 Diamondbacks have been erased on the bases today in a 1-1 ball game. David Peralta has singled, walked, and scored a run. A little flare to center, and Russell's out there. Still a 1-1 ball game in Chicago. Brought to you in part by Law Tigers, Arizona's motorcycle lawyers, and by Phoenix International Raceway. Join PIR on November 15th for NASCAR. Visit us at phoenixraceway.com and get your tickets now. On the shores of Lake Michigan here in downtown Chicago, Illinois. Wrigley Field. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, and Jody Jackson with you. Good ball game here. 1-1 Cubs and Diamondbacks. D-backs trying to win this series and this road trip on a winning note. And Ruby De La Rosa, who got out of a bases-loaded jam in the 5th, is back out there to work the 6th against Chris Coughlin. Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryan, 3, 4, and 5 for the Cubs. Coughlin so far 0 for 2. Cubs are adding pieces left and right these days, it seems, trying to get ready for the stretch drive that they're starting this month, trying to lock down that postseason spot. Coughlin drives it the other way toward the left field corner, but fouled. They picked up Cahill and they picked up Austin Jackson, and they add pieces here and there. Well, they went and got Fernando Rodney, who was just a dumpster fire in Seattle with the tilted hat and the whole thing and the arrows, and he's back there too. They just keep picking up pieces, getting whatever they think they might need to lock this thing down.
And for a while, as this rebuilding process was taking place, I think they were signing anybody that had value to anybody, whether it was the Cubs or whether it was somebody they could flip for more prospects. They were just scouring the waiver wire every day, just seeing if there's somebody we could bring over here, use for a start or two, use for a few ABs, whatever, and then flip them to another team for some young prospects. And I have to say it's working pretty well for him. As far as Rodney and his personality and everything he brings to the table, you better have a strong manager riding herd on this team to bring somebody like that into a winning mix.
We certainly have that. Rodney just really had a bad year in Seattle at the back end of that bullpen. And he's warming up now here in the bottom of the 6th. 3-2 on Chris Coughlin.
Looks like he had the same hairdresser that Miguel Montero did.
Mickey might have done it himself. That's probably why it turned out the way it did. Base hit into right center. Leadoff man aboard. Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo 0 for 2 today. He's got 3 hits in the series, including his grand slam here Friday. He has homered 3 times in his last 8 games. Top 10 in the National League in both home runs and RBIs. And the Diamondbacks have the shift on. That all by himself on the left-hand side. After swinging at the first 2 pitches in his first 2 at-bats, this is now his longest at-bat today. That is not very sabermetrically sound. The sun gleaming off the bill of his helmet. Hot day here at Wrigley. Staying away behind 2-0. Well, he wants to talk it over. Now what? You don't want to get behind in the count against this guy. Enrique Burgos back and throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. Ruby right at 90 pitches, 58 strikes. Hot day like this, do you consider Some guys might have a little less in the tank than they might normally would. Ruby can go deep into ball games, but boy, it is really steamy down there.
That's where it really helps to know your players, know their conditioning, know what they do on a daily basis to keep themselves in shape. Some guys you might push a little farther on a day like this because you know they keep themselves in great shape and they stay hydrated and do all that good stuff. Other guys, maybe based on their history, you need to pull the plug as quickly as possible because maybe they don't take quite as good a care of themselves. Maybe they can't find that extra reserve of energy late in a ball game like this.
You look at 90 pitches, sixth inning, you go, all right, that's about normal. But remember, he threw a whole bunch of high leverage pitches to get out of that bases loaded jam in the fifth. So the needle might be a little closer to E than it would normally be at 90 pitches in the sixth. And he's behind on Rizzo, 3 balls and no strikes. After going 3-2 on Coughlin. And Peralta and Pollock in left and center, backed up close to the ivy. 4-pitch walk. Second walk issued by Ruby. 2 on, nobody out for Bryant. Last time he was up, he hit one 495 feet.
That's why Ruby's not going to face him again.
Chip Hale. So Burgos will come in. 2 on, nobody out. And Ruby De La Rosa, who did a really good job for the most part today, avoided a big inning in the fifth, but he leaves responsible for 2 in the sixth. And here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Chris Bryant is coming up. His last time up, he hit the longest home run in the major leagues this year. 495. This was it. Bryant will be up when we come back. In second, nobody out for Chris Bryant, the rookie sensation Enrique Burgos trying to pick up Ruby De La Rosa here. Chris Coughlin is the runner at second, and Anthony Rizzo at first. Enrique Burgos, that slider we saw has really looked good since he rejoined the Diamondbacks with September roster expansion. And Castillo wants to get together. And the whole infield will join. The numbers on Burgos this year. Chris Bryant, last 18 games, including today, 7 homers, 20 RBIs. He's batting about .360 over that stretch.
Jerks that ball over in the left-handed batter's box that time. Very little chance for Wellington Castillo.
Second wild pitch for the Diamondbacks today. The bullpen stays busy. Matt Reynolds, the lefty. Silvino Bracho, the righty, warming up for the Diamondbacks. 1-0 on Bryant. Two and 0. Bryant, the home run in the fifth, is 23rd of the year and is 19th in this ballpark.
That time, flat slider that ended up right in the middle of the plate, just below the belt. Fortunately, Bryant underneath it fouls it off of Wellington's mask. Don't throw that one again.
You got the righty and the lefty up. Montero is on deck, so this might be Burgos' only hitter. 2 balls and 1 strike. Spike that one again. 3-1.
Well, he wasn't quite sure where this ball was. Got up underneath his meat hand, up near the chest protector right there. Any block is a good block, but a little lucky that time. Goes without saying, very dangerous pitch upcoming. If you're going to throw a fastball, you better put it in a great location, either just off the outside corner or way inside off the inside corner. If you're going to throw a breaking ball, it needs to be down and on that outer third, moving away from Bryant.
And Burgos signals for Castillo to come out and talk it over. Enrique, who's gotten a lot of big outs for the Diamondbacks over the course of this year, does not look comfortable. Now we have a fan on the field, and he is quickly subdued. Great job by Wrigley security. They tackled the moron close to the Diamondback dugout. Just absolute stupidity. So they clean up that. Burgos gets more time at the mound. Hot, steamy day, a classic Wrigley Field day on a Sunday in Chicago. Steve Bertune, Bob Brenly, and Jody Jackson with you.
So hot here, some people's brains are melting.
Some don't have any in the first place.
What a knucklehead.
The mentality level to try and do something like that is beyond measure. And now that's been cleaned up and we're set to go. 3-1 on Bryant. Coughlin at third and Rizzo at second. Still nobody out.
I've never seen that before. The security guard that so quickly jumped on that idiot got a standing ovation when he came back into his seat by the dugout.
Good for him. The bases are loaded. They have the lefty Reynolds ready. Montero is the hitter. And we'll see how both dugouts want to play this. Here comes Chip Hale.
You can't like anything you saw from Enrique Burgos in his short outing today. He was spraying the ball all over the place.
He looked uncomfortable in his own skin that entire at bat. He threw 5 pitches. 3 of them were in the dirt. 1 wild pitch. So it'll be Reynolds and Montero. Bases loaded. 1-1 ball game. Back after this. steamy Sunday. It's Arizona Diamondbacks baseball presented by Sanderson Ford. And a good ball game here. 1-1 in the 6th inning, but the Diamondbacks in a real mess. Bases loaded, no outs, and former D-back Miguel Montero steps in against the left-hander Matt Reynolds. You've got Chris Coughlin, the runner, at third, Anthony Rizzo at second, and Chris Bryant at first. Miggy so far has walked and singled. Montero was hurt just before the All-Star break with a left thumb sprain. He was out for a month. Came back first week of August, and since he's returned, he's hit about .250 with 4 homers. Miguel Montero, a grand slam, and it's 5-1 Cubs. That's the 3rd grand slam that Diamondbacks pitchers have served up on this road trip. Chirpeo will go get Silvino Bracho to face the right-hander Javier Baez. Miguel Montero, his 15th of the year, a grand slam. 5-1 Cubs. Back after this. And the curtain call from the Cub dugout. He needs to borrow a hat first. This is Kyle Schwarber's cap. 15 home runs for Miggy, now tied for 3rd among all National League catchers. And it's quickly become a 5-1 ball game. Silvino Bracho to face Javier Baez. Still nobody out in the 6th. Single, walk, homer. Baez singled his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Oh, we've said that, Bob, the last 2 years, dozens of times, that Miggy is at his best when he takes the ball to left field and left center, goes the other way, doesn't try to pull everything for a home run, and that time it worked out.
And we've talked about it also the first 2 games this series. That is the shortest part of the ballpark right there. Just around that well area toward left center field with a fence comes out a little bit closer to the warning track, you can dunk some in there. And with Miggy's opposite field swing, he should be hitting the ball that way regularly.
Pitcher spot is due up. Jonathan Herrera is in the on-deck circle for the Cubs. There is no one throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. We have seen Burgos, Reynolds, and Al Bracho. Fly ball, left field, Peralta. All the way. The freight train. They love him here at Wrigley. He really is hearing it from those guys out there. Herrera will hit for the pitcher.
And heads up Wellington Castillo.
Herrera.
Oscar Hernandez twice on his backswing yesterday in the head.
Fly ball to the right. Inciarte at the track, at the wall. And it's gone. Jonathan Herrera, his second of the year. And they're rolling here at Wrigley.
On a tee, inside part of the plate, mid-thighs. Just does tuck it into that basket out there in right field.
Addison Russell. Cubs have 3 hits in the inning. 2 of them are home runs.
Not quite as dramatic as Miguel Montero's, but Herrera gets his curtain call.
Not quite as necessary either. It's about the Cubs and the long ball. Cubs began the ball game having hit 68 home runs since the All-Star break, the most in the National League. And they have now homered in 15 straight home games, their longest such streak since 1991. In the last 24 games here at Wrigley, the Cubs have homered 49 times. That was ever since the Cole Hamels no-hitter here. This last start for the Phillies. 1-2 on Russell. Got him. 2 down. Dexter Fowler, who has struck out 3 times.
It's tough not to let your shoulders droop after what we've seen in this inning from the Cubs offense, something they're certainly capable of doing at any given moment. But as we pointed out in the first 2 games of this series, when the wind's blowing out at Wrigley, as long as you've got outs left in the ball game, keep your head up, keep grinding, keep pushing.
Bracho behind 2-0. We get 3 balls in those strikes.
Talking about that with Len Casper and Jim DeShays on the WGN telecast of the Cubs game today. It was a 2-0 ball game yesterday behind Jake Arrieta, but it felt like it was 10-0.
The way Arrieta was pitching in.
Yeah, but the Diamondbacks were a bloop and a blast away from tying up that game. It'll take a little bit more today, but certainly it can be done. We've seen it done before.
And here in the bottom of the 6th, I want to remind fans that Bob will be back on the Cub telecast after the top of the 7th to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and we'll stay here at the ballpark. Make sure all the Diamondback fans get to see you belt it out.
That's called warning. You've been warned.
So don't touch that dial. That's coming up after the top of the 7th. Here's the strike. Hold on there, Dexter. 3-2. Now, when you say let's root for the, you're supposed to say Cubbies.
You just stick the microphone out the front of the booth and let the fans do whatever they do.
That's how you're going to dodge that issue.
Yeah.
All right. Well done.
It's a smart way to do it.
Good play. 3-2 pitch. He struck him out. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Silvino Bracho. But the Cubs put up a 5 spot led by Miguel Montero's 3rd career grand slam. And the Diamondbacks are down 6-1.
Chip Hale earlier today just talking about the fact that he really wants the team to finish strong. 4 straight day games. That'll end after tomorrow's game on Labor Day back at Chase Field. But he said he will address the team on Tuesday about finishing strong and all of his players. But I asked him, especially the young guys, what kind of impression do you want them to leave on you? And he said, look, the last thing we're going to remember about them when we're evaluating in the offseason is how they finished. And he said he understands it's hard. It's a long season, whether your minor league season went well or didn't, or even your major league season. And some of the guys that are up to bat, even in this particular inning, guys that have been with the team for a little bit, but they're still very young, they will all be evaluated in the offseason. And he wants to make sure that they finish this season strong.
Yeah, Chip was saying before the game, Jody, that look, the September impression that you make here for them as talent evaluators, the coaches and the front office, is the one, rightly or wrongly, we're all human beings here, that sticks with you in the offseason, and that's when the decisions are made. So you want to make sure that that September impression is a good one. New pitcher for the Cubs, it's former Mariners great Fernando Rodney. Wellington Castillo, the former Cub, leads it off. Rodney led the majors in saves last year. He had 48, but he was just a disaster this season in Seattle. 5-5 with a ERA near 6, acquired from the Mariners August 27th. And now part of this reinforced Cub bullpen as they try and hang on to that second National League wild card. If the season ended today, the Cubs would play that wild card game at Pittsburgh. And a reminder, fans, stay tuned right after the end of this top of the 7th My partner Bob Brenly is next door, reunited with Len Casper and Jim Deshaies in the Cub booth. That's a fair ball. Castillo hits it into the Cub bullpen. Coghlan plays it on a hop and down 6-1 here. He's going to make sure they don't get thrown out on the bases again. So Bob is the next door with Len and JD, and he will sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" during the 7th inning stretch. There's Bob, Jim Deshaies on the left, and Len Casper on the right. The great Cubs TV team here. Bob was here for 8 years doing Cub games before we got him back with the Diamondbacks. So he has the "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" honors today at the ballpark. There's Jake Lamb, who doubled in the second. He struck out his last time up, 1 for 2. D-backs, when we got back from that last road trip that closed with a 4-game sweep at Cincinnati, they were only 5 off the lead in the National League West. But since then, the Diamondbacks have gone 3-10. And at the start of play today, the D-backs were 12.5 back. So they went from 5 back to 12.5 in about 2 weeks. Dodgers, of course, got that sweep over the Giants. Giants in a Chase Field for 3 starting tomorrow. So it's become here in September a little more of a talent evaluation period than it has a real pennant chase. Certainly not out of it yet, but it's been a rough go here the last couple of weeks. Castillo the leadoff single. Now Jake Lamb ahead 3-0 against Rodney. Cub bullpen quiet. There's his strike, 3-1. Josh Colmenter warming up for the Diamondbacks in their bullpen. Three and 2. Ball tailing away from the left-hand hitter. Look at Rodney just on the fox tracks. Work in the outer half, away, away, away. All 4. So the first 2 have reached. Nothing new with Fernando Rodney. You can hear Mariner fans saying that right now. And the Diamondbacks down 5 in the 7th, looking for base runners, and Rodney is obliging them. Mentioned how this was a classic Wrigley Field day. It is really hot. Chris Bosio, the pitching coach, out there to talk to his pitcher. Cub bullpen still quiet. This place is absolutely packed to the gills here. The wind, which is calmed down a bit, but still blowing straight out to center toward Lake Michigan. A hot sunny day here, and now that the Cubs have bought the rooftops across the street, they can count those as seats inside the ballpark. They used to be privately owned. The Cubs have solved their scoreboard problems by buying some of those buildings. So today they have 41,183. They can get 41 plus in here, which just seemed incomprehensible not too long ago. But with the ballpark improvements and the renovations and so forth, they can pack them in, and they're certainly doing that here today. So a base hit by Castillo, a walk to Lamb. 2 on, no outs for Chris Owings. CO 0 for 2. Ball 1. This is the kind of pitching that got Rodney first out of the closer's role in Seattle after he saved 48 last year, and then out of Seattle altogether. 10 pitches and more balls than strikes. Bullpen will have to get busy. Just inside. CO ahead 2-0. And these are gift base runners at this point, down 5 in the 7th. This is exactly what the Diamondbacks need. This guy is all over the place. And CO, who's swung a really good bat lately, can get them back in it with a 1 swing here. There's a strike. It's been a nice stretch lately for Chris. Last 26 games, he's hit just under 300. 11 extra base hits and 12 RBIs over that span. He's had a good road trip. Hitters count here on 2-1. And Chip Hale told us this morning in terms of the second base spot that, you know, they're still without Aaron Hill. He's getting better. That hamstring is still troublesome. And Chip told us he'll likely have to stay away from starting Aaron, at least until the middle of this week. Maybe he could start that last game in the upcoming Giants series, but he can pinch hit right now. That's about it. And Owens strikes out. Aaron can hit right now. He can't really run the bases, so they're kind of a man down in that dugout, even with rosters expanded here in September. And Aaron Hill indeed has a bat in his hands. You've got Ahmed up. Pitcher spot is after that. Saltalamacchia is in the on-deck circle. 2 on, 1 out. Nick has grounded out twice, 0 for 2. Playing time for Nick has been a little sporadic lately, and that figures to continue. We've talked about the crowded infield situation here. They want to see Phil Gosselin and they want to see Brandon Drury at both second and third. And that means Chris Owings. He'll have to play a lot of shortstop, and that means more time on the bench for Nick. Diamondbacks still looking for that big hit. They are 1 for 10 with men on base today. And Owens strikes out. Now Ahmed is down 0-2. Just missed away, a ball and 2 strikes. Castillo, the runner at second, Lamb at first. 1-2 on Nick Ahmed. Big swing and a miss. So Rodney bounces back with 2 strikeouts. He gets Owings and Ahmed. And fans, as promised earlier in the ball game, time to look at our T-Mobile AZ Data Strong fan photo. And the winner is Marcy. Get the D-back logo in there. A reminder, fans, tweet us your strongest fan photo with the hashtag AZ Data Strong Fan, brought to you by T-Mobile. 2 on, 2 outs, and Salty will hit for the pitcher. Jared Saltalamacchia is 7 for 20 as a pinch hitter this year. That's a .350 batting average. Ball 1 from Rodney. Salty for the year, 205. He's got 5 homers. Just a smidge under 205. A reminder, fans, as soon as the top half of this inning ends, our own Bob Brentley next door, in front of 41,000 plus here at Wrigley, will sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," part of the 7th inning stretch. He is today's guest singer. Salty lines it right into the shift, and Russell has it. The Diamondbacks down 6-1, get the first 2 on, and cannot get a run across. Here's Bob Brentley.
Take me out to the ball game. Former Cubs broadcaster Bob Brentley.
All right. You know what to do. Sing it loud. Make Harry proud. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. Or it's root, root, root for the. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. That one was for Gemma Rose from Grandpa Bob.
Bob Brenly just crushing.
There, and there's 40,000 people looking at you waiting. When are you going to start? So I try to get into it as quickly as possible.
I like the dedication to Gemma Rose, Granddad.
I've never personalized that before, but I thought it was appropriate since she's back home watching on television this afternoon, and she's just starting to get into baseball. I taught her home run yesterday and working on some other baseball terms, so I know Gemma was watching.
A big hit here in front of 41,000 plus. I didn't give you that number for 41 over there. I didn't want you to get nervous. But a packed house. So we're set for the home half of the seventh. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks is the veteran Josh Clementer as Austin Jackson steps in. I hope you were over there talking up the D-backs. I know it's been tough in this series.
I was doing my best to spread the gospel over there. I mean, we understand where the Diamondbacks are, and I told Len Casper and Jim Deshaies, obviously the model is very similar to what the Cubs have done. Build from some young talent within, augment with some veterans here or there, and try to move forward and do what the Cubs are doing this year, positioning themselves to go to the postseason. And maybe I'm crazy, but I think the Diamondbacks have a good, solid core group of young guys to build around, just like the Cubs did.
There's no question about that. Just supplement it here and there, like the Cubs have done, mostly in the rotation. They went out and got Lester. They went out and got Arrieta. Those guys are their top two pitchers. And other guys, Jason Hamill, guys like that, they've added along the way. Kyle Hendricks, today's starter, they got from Texas. Jackson slams it to left center field, and that'll get down. It's off the ivy. Austin Jackson, a leadoff double. He's going to work out to be a nice acquisition for these guys. We've talked about how they've supplemented their roster here for September, and this has been a key addition.
Any veteran presence you can add to a really young roster can only pay dividends. A guy that's been through the wars before, he knows what's expected of him. He knows what he expects from his teammates.
Chris Coghlan singled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Ball to left. Peralta, this is carrying a bit on him, but he's got room. Jackson will hustle into third. A nice aggressive play there by Austin Jackson as he tags up on the fly out to left. Brings up Anthony Rizzo. Was there a guy in your 8 years here that did that better than anyone else on the taking out to the ball game? I mean, they've had Eddie Vedder. I mean, they've had some big time musicians and singers. It's not all, just regular guys. Some of these guys are real pros.
It seems like, well, of course, there's a reason why, but all the Blackhawks always got a great response, whether they could sing a lick or not, just because they were with the Stanley Cup champion Blackhawks. Duncan Keith and Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves, they always got a huge ovation when they came here to Wrigley.
Well, they love that hockey team here in this town, and for good reason.
the funniest, and I can't remember exactly who the football player was, but there was a defensive back for the Bears who came to sing the 7th inning stretch one day. And they used to stop in the radio booth for half an inning, then they'd go sing the stretch on TV, and then they would stay in the bottom half of the inning on the TV side. Well, when they stopped on the radio side, and as you know, they give us a handout every day. It looked like it clipped Rizzo.
I think he's saying foul ball. He went. Yep. John Hirschbeck is signaling that Rizzo swung at that before it hit him.
Well, this is an offshoot of the same thing that Nick Ahmed did earlier in the ballgame. If you're swinging at the pitch and it hits you, it's just a strike.
Joe Madden out there to discuss.
I think he really swung at that ball myself.
I saw John Hirschbeck give the mechanic there pumping his fist to signal a strike. And it's a 1-2 count, and Joe Madden's going to have to live with it.
Just to quickly finish that story, they give us a handout every day of the 7th inning guest singer and his accomplishments. Well, they had this gentleman's name, John Doe, Pro Bowler. He'd been a Pro Bowler in the NFL. Well, when Ron Santos saw the handout, he turned to the young man and said, "So, what's your best game? Have you ever bowled 300?
Professional bowler.
One of many Santoisms that we were very fortunate to be around in the 8 years I was here.
It's football, Ronnie. Football. The great Ron Santo. There's a wonderful statue of Ron Santo right out in front of Wrigley Field here at the main entrance.
I think he became even more beloved after his playing days were over when he came back as a broadcaster.
I love listening to him.
Oh, it was a great listen.
He and Pat Hughes just to our left. They would work in the radio booth. Ron Coomer's in there now. Because he was himself, and that's the best way to be. When you're doing this job, you have to just be yourself. You can't try to emulate anybody. You just got to, it's either going to work or it's not, but that was the beauty of Ron. Holmenter has it. Looks Jackson back to the bag and throws it out. This is out in front of the ballpark. They have a number of wonderful statues. There's a Henry Banks statue and a great Harry Carey statue. And they incorporate some of the Cub blue. You won't see it from that shot, but the bill of the cap and the socks are that a deep Cub blue. That's Ron Santo right out in front of the corner.
Yeah, and I was here at the ballpark the day they dedicated that statue outside of Wrigley Field, and you can see that building in the background there. There were people hanging out the windows. There were people on the roof. There were people inside Wrigley Field hanging out over. I mean, there had to be 10,000 people out on that corner for the Ron Santo statue dedication. It was really quite a moment.
We saw that in Cincinnati when we were there for the Tony Perez statue dedication. That meant a whole lot to the people that followed the Big Red Machine. And much more so here with Ron Santo and the Cubs. Chris Bryant has homered and walked. This up in the air toward the right field corner. Ender finding that sun near the line, near the crowd, and he's got it up against the wall. So Holmenter strands the leadoff double and keeps it a 6-1 Cubs lead.
1995, Cal Ripken breaks Lou Gehrig's record for consecutive games played with his 2,131st straight game. Now, the interesting thing is they had to wait until 5 innings were played to make it an official ball game before they could actually celebrate, so they stopped right in the middle of the game for Cal Jr. to take a victory lap around the field. What a moment.
Maybe the only time in baseball history that they'll have that moment.
I don't think that record will ever be even approached.
Well, it's Trevor time at Wrigley. Trevor Cahill. Former Diamondback and Atlanta Brave, now here in Cub pinstripes. And he'll take them out to open up the 8th. Chris Denorfia takes over for Chris Coughlin in left field. You know, I find this hard to believe. It's not like they needed it, particularly in this series, but knowing what Diamondback fans know about Chris Denorfia and the damage that he's done against the D-backs, and it's not a small sample size, and sure enough, the first ball is hit to the new guy, as it always is. But, you know, Denorfia, 65 career games against the Diamondbacks. He's a .318 lifetime hitter, 22 extra base hits. That, you know, a little stunned that he wasn't in the starting lineup for at least one of these games.
Yeah, I guess, you know, Joe Madden knows his ball club a lot better than we do, but yeah, Denorfia has just been a D-backs killer throughout his entire career. Didn't matter whether they were wearing purple or Sedona red. Saw plenty of him down in San Diego playing for Bud Black. We joked about it the other day. He might start a game in right field, move over to left field in the 3rd inning, move back to right field in the 5th, move over to center in the 7th. But he was always in the lineup against the Diamondbacks when he was a member of the Padres.
And always killed them. AJ quickly down 0-2 against Cahill. Joe Madden did double switch, by the way. Denorfia will bat 8th and remain at the ball game in left field. Pitcher spot now 3rd in the Cubs lineup. And AJ strikes out. 2 quick outs for Cahill.
That's something we didn't get to say a lot when Trevor was in Arizona, or he'd probably still be in Arizona.
I was just thinking if I had $1 for every time I said that, I'd probably have like $3.
$3.
Well, there's Goldie. Goldie 0 for 3. Trevor Cahill, if he's figured it out or what, the ERA for the year, as we saw a moment ago, is over 7, but he's working quickly and throwing strikes. He strikes out Goldie. A very impressive inning for Trevor Cahill. It's 6-1 Cubs. UFC will face off as coaches as interim featherweight champion Conor McGregor and Uriah Faber join the all-new season of The Ultimate Fighter. The mayhem begins Wednesday only on Fox Sports 1. Well, mayhem's a good word for this ball game. Trevor Cahill looked like Bob Gibson out there. Miguel Montero has hit a grand slam off a left-hand pitcher, and it's 6-1 Cubs. What's the deal with that?
Go figure.
Weird, wild stuff.
Cubby occurrence.
It sure is, isn't it? And Miggy who hit the grand slam off Matt Reynolds back of that 5-run Cubs sixth will lead off the 8th against Josh Coleman. D-backs put the shift on for Miggy, who has walked, singled, and homered. Miggy has compared this Cub team to the 2011 Diamondbacks team that won the NL West. He said there were a lot of similarities. It's away from the shift. Ahmed going to have to hurry, and he makes a nice play. Miggy said that the D-backs that year in 2011, players walked in and said every day when they showed up, you know what, we're going to win today. You just felt like you would. And he said the Cubs now, with all these young guys getting better and better, they feel that way now too, and they're playing like it.
Yeah, certainly you have to have that self-confidence or swagger, whatever you want to call it. I mean, if you're showing up at the ballpark thinking, oh, geez, we have to play again today, we're probably going to get beat, you're beat.
Well, Miggy admitted that he often felt that way last year in Arizona over the second half of the year. Every time he went to the park, he said it was down about the situation, and it showed. Javier Baez 1 for 3.
That's where your manager, your coaching staff, and your team leaders set the tone. Don't allow that negativity to creep in there. I mean, at some point in every team season, you reach that point where you're mathematically eliminated, and now you're just playing for your own stats. But up until that point, every day you show up, if you're considered to be one of the team leaders, you have to lead by example, lead by being vocal in the clubhouse, letting your teammates know that you expect them to go out and do everything they can to win a ball game that day, because you're going to do it.
Rollmenter rings up Baez for the second out of the 8th. And here is Kristen Orfia, Diamondback killer.
Walk him.
Diamondback Live post-game show follows our ball game here on Fox Sports Arizona. And Orfia this year with the Cubs, 257, couple of home runs. Knocks it the other way. That is a fair ball down the right field line. It's in the corner. Kristen Orfia, what else is new?
Should have walked him.
His 23rd career extra base hit against the Diamondbacks.
Another one of those pieces you were talking about earlier. The Cubs just seem to collect guys, a veteran outfielder, right-handed bat, good contact hitter, plays good defense at any of the 3 outfield positions. And Orfia doubles down that right field line. What's new?
Yeah, the Cubs got him in January after he split last year between Seattle and San Diego. And, you know, he said it was a decision he had to think deeply about because he had a whole bunch of offers, Kristen Orfia. Bunch of teams he could have gone to, but sort of liked where the Cubs are going, and it's definitely meeting his expectations. In fact, it's exceeding them right now. And this is a guy who's played a long time, 10 years, and never seen the postseason, Kristen Orfia. So this is the situation in which he wants to find himself. Cubs have 9 hits, 5 of them for extra bases. Here's Russell. When you're Kristen Orfia, right? You turned 35 in July. You've played 10 years in the big leagues, come close to the playoffs, but never gotten there. You got to be loving this, even if you're not starting every day. He's going to get the seats.
The odd thing is that he would choose to go to Chicago because there's a possibility of going to the postseason.
It's like world gone mad.
Yeah.
Very happy to be a Cub.
Ernie Banks. great career here in Chicago, Hall of Fame career, never had an opportunity to play in a World Series.
Denorfia missed by 2 games in San Diego 5 years ago. He missed by 1 game last year in Seattle, so he's come close, but never made the postseason. Russell lines out to Peralta, and they strand the 2-out double. 9th inning coming up. Diamondbacks down 6-1. Gig Life high-speed highlights. Miguel Montero's grand slam, highlighting a 5-run Cubs 6. They lead at 6-1 as we start the 9th against former Diamondback Trevor Cahill, who worked a very impressive 1-2-3-8, including strikeouts of Pollock and Goldie. And David Peralta leads off the 9th. Peralta has singled, walked, and scored a run. He's 1 for 2. David hitting .365 since the All-Star break. Do you believe that this is what David Peralta is now, or is it just a good second half? Or somewhere in between?
I think probably somewhere in between. I mean, I've said many times that coaches will tell you players are never as good as they look when it's going good, and they're never as bad as they look when it's going bad. But I've seen enough of David Peralta. He's got good strike zone recognition, barrels the ball up pretty consistently. Since that stretch in the middle of the season when Ender Inciarte was on the DL and he started to face some lefties, he's a guy now that you feel comfortable leaving in there on a daily basis, regardless of the starting pitcher.
Well, Trevor Cahill's getting some payback here. He's now struck out 3 in a row. And the 3 best Diamondback hitters at that: Pollock, Goldie, Peralta. 1 away for Castillo. Fly ball left center field, and that ball is gonna go. It's gone, a home run for the former Cub. Wellington Castillo is 18th. And as a former Cub, that one is thrown back in keeping with the Wrigley Field tradition. But Welly blasted that out of here to left center. His 18 home runs leads all National League catchers. It's our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. A hanger from Cahill.
Some guys taking out frustrations on their former team today. Miguel Montero, now Wellington Castillo going deep.
That was a poke.
Yeah, it was.
Jake Lamb has doubled and walked today. Castillo since the All-Star break. 11 homers and 24 RBIs. One and one on Lamb. Two and two. Jake now with 13 hits in his last 10 games. Just inside, a full count, 3-2. That's 4 strikeouts for Cahill. 4 of his 5 outs. Diamondbacks, Bob, had their chances early in the ball game, but they had 4 runners eliminated on the bases.
Yeah, some of them just tough luck. A couple of line drives right at Cubs defenders that they turned into a double play. Ender Inciarte caught that time, getting too big of a jump over there at first base trying to steal. He's tagged out. And then Goldie on a hit and run lines one right out to Austin Jackson in right field, and the Cubs turn that into a double play.
On to Chris Owens. CO 0 for 3. He struck out twice. Diamondbacks on an airplane right after this ball game. Finally back home. We'll open up a homestand at Chase Field against the Giants. Day game tomorrow, fans. Don't forget a matinee at Chase Field. D-backs and Giants. Hope to see you there. dbacks.com/tickets for that one. And don't forget to use the D-backs value pack. You can get a discount. Patrick Corbin and Mike Leake tomorrow afternoon. 12:30 Diamondback Live pregame show here on Fox Sports Arizona. A 1:10 first pitch. Inside on Owens, it's 3-1. Chase Anderson and Ryan Vogelsong Tuesday night. And Zach Godley, Chip Hale told us today, will start the Wednesday night game against Chris Heston. He went. Well, the Cubs about to win for the 17th time in their last 21 games here at Wrigley Field. This win will get them 21 over 500 for the year. They're on pace to win 93. And right now they are in the National League playoffs. They walked Owens. Chance for Nick Ahmed now. Joe Madden going to make a move here. 6-2 ball game, 2 outs in the 9th. Trevor Cahill had his moments for sure. 4 strikeouts in 1 2/3. Back after this. his 64th appearance of the year. A 2.81 ERA. Chris Owings is the runner at first with 2 outs, and Nick Ahmed is in there. Nick 0 for 3. Diamondbacks, when we came back from that 4-game sweep at Cincinnati, only 5 off the lead in the NL West. Since then, after this one, if this final score holds up, they will have gone 3-11. It's a high fly ball, left field to Norfia at the track, at the ivy, and that ball is gone. A home run. Hold the phone. Nick Ahmed hits his 8th of the year, a 2-run shot, and it's a 6-3 ball game.
How about that? Somewhat of a stunned silence here at Wrigley Field as Nick Ahmed lifts one high in the air to left center field, got it up in that jet stream, just continued to carry out to left center field.
Make it 6-4. Forgot about the Castillo homer. Suddenly the tying run is on deck, and Phil Gosselin will hit for the pitcher. Gosselin 310 and a homer. Hector Rondon, the closer. We got the save here yesterday as 26th to start throwing to the Cub bullpen, but it's 0-2 on Gosselin. And that's the ball game. 6-4 your final as the Cubs sweep. In 1 minute, 6-4 the final. Cubs take all 3 here on a hot day at Wrigley to wrap up this road trip and this series. And now Chip Hale and company on an airplane headed back home to take on the Giants starting tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, no question, this Cubs team very impressive, very exciting. They hit a lot of long balls. They strike out a boatload. They've got a couple of guys at the top of the rotation that can shut you down in the postseason. It'll be interesting to see.
Diamondback Live postgame show is next from Wrigley Field. 6-4 the final. Miguel Montero had the big hit. His 3rd career grand slam as the Cubs got 5 in the 6th on their way to a 6-4 win. Home runs by Castillo and Ahmed in the 9th made it close. But the Cubs get the 3-game sweep. More from Wrigley after this on Fox Sports Arizona.